Verse number 12. Atma Sakshi Vibhuh Purnaha Eko Muktaschidakriyaha Asango Nispriha Shantaha Brahmat Sansarabaniva Brahmat. You have a Bhranti. He says, Ashtavakraji says, my dear Jiva, you have Bhranti about yourself. See, to have Bhranti is all right. You don't use your will to have Bhranti. You find yourself with an illusion. Illusions are not man-made. In fact, illusions are not made by man. Illusions are also not made by Bhagavan. Illusion is due to lack of knowledge, first. In the realm of ignorance, there is a vision called illusion. Like dream is a vision. The waking also is a vision, erroneous, illusory vision. Like mirage is an illusory vision. Therefore, neither man is the author of an illusion, nor Bhagavan. One finds oneself with the illusion. Then how can you blame me? Say, to find oneself with an illusion is okay. But one finds oneself with an illusion with the inner intelligence to be able to correct it. An animal also lives in an illusion. It also has a sense of reality about everything. It also has a sense of embodiment. It also has a sense of reality about everything. But it can't correct it. It has no ability to correct. So we can't do much anything about it. It is not only bound, in that embodiment it can never know itself. It cannot be free in that embodiment. So if it has to gain freedom, then it has to change the embodiment. Embodiment means a kind of embodiment in which there is intelligence manifest. Just as in human embodiment, there is intelligence manifest. And due to that intelligence, man can correct the illusion. Because the intelligence is part of the truth. The capacity to understand the truth is also no less than the truth. And therefore man finds himself with an illusion, a jiva finds himself with an illusion, but with an embodiment in which he can correct. Therefore Ashtavakra says, there is nothing wrong, that it's not your fault that you find yourself with an illusion, but definitely it is your fault not to be able to correct it. Because you have the intelligence, but you are using it for something else. Brahmat Sansaravaniva. So this particular point must be very clear. Illusion we find myself with. That is what is called, like dream I find myself with. Waking I find myself with. Sense of embodiment we find ourselves with. The sense that I am located in space we find ourselves with. The sense that I am time bound is we find ourselves with. All that we find ourselves with is what we call swabhavikam. Swabhavikam means an illusion that we find ourselves with. Even impulses we find ourselves with. It is an illusion. we find ourselves with impulses. Impulses also are a vision, an illusion. Anger is an inner vision. Greed is an inner vision. Jealousy is an inner vision. It's not a process, please. Even a process is a vision. Even a process is a perception, is a vision. Like running in the dream also is a perception, is a vision. Therefore, one great happiness comes to us by understanding that I am not to blame for the halat in which I am. I am not to blame. Yeah, why? Because this entire, if I have impulses, I find myself with them. The only thing that I can blame myself for is my reluctance to look at myself. I don't use my reasoning to know myself. Human embodiment is capable of, it has the capacity, it can help me reason about myself. Each reasoning can culminate in the truth. What reasoning human beings are capable of, my God. The reasoning that is used in the scientific world, उनको कहाँ कहाँ पहुँचा रहे हैं. And the same reasoning, if it is used to look at oneself, he can get moksha. He can discover that he is the truth. The identity of being the truth, the status of being the truth, is definitely better than the status of being a huge scientist, is it not? The status of a sage is greater than the status of a saint, is it not, Ji? The scientists have their own imperfection, their own raga dveshas. The sages don't have. They are synonymous with the truth, being. One silence doesn't feel jealous of another silence. A sound can feel jealous of another sound. Or why it is sounding more musical than me? Sound can feel, is it not? Does not one singer feel jealous of another singer, Ji? Does not one rich man feel jealous of another rich man? Does not one scientist feel jealous of another scientist? Does not even one scholar feel jealous of another scholar? We all feel jealous, Ji. But in truth there is no jealousy, because it's oneness. There is no other, Ji. Silence cannot come across silence. Silence is one's own being. I can be silent. I cannot objectify silence. A very big thing. I can be conscious, but I cannot objectify consciousness. I can only be the being, I cannot objectify the being. I can be myself, I cannot objectify myself. We can be the truth, we can't objectify the truth. Therefore, the only blame that we can accept is that we are reluctant to look at ourselves. Even independent of the Shruti, if a person can look at himself, his own existence, he ceases to be a speculator. He may get a huge insight about himself, then he may look into, then he discovers even the limitation of logic, etc. Maybe due to some sanskara, who knows? If you look at yourself, your existence can guide you to understand it more. It's the same logic. Remain in water, you will learn how to swim. Because I have given this example again and again, don't underestimate its value. Let not familiarity of a phrase take away its value, please. Let not the value of Tattvamasi heard by you every day because it is you are so familiar, let it not take away its value. Brahmat sansara Ashtavakra says you are suffering only because of Bhranti. And you have a Bhranti with a human embodiment. And it so happens, and you can't have reasons, it so happens that in human embodiment there is intelligence. Devatas who have intelligence can be told you are unnecessarily suffering. Because there is no need to suffer if you look at yourself. And you can look at yourself. But you can't say the same thing to the animals. You are unnecessarily suffering. Can you say that? No. Because they can never know themselves. They can't look at them, they can't discern between the subject and the form. They can't discern between themselves and the form, and therefore you can't blame the animals. Therefore, Brahmat sansaravanim. If gods can be said, you are unnecessarily suffering. Humans can be said, can be told, they are all unnecessarily suffering. If Rama is suffering, I say you are unnecessarily suffering. If Ravana is suffering, you are unnecessarily suffering. Because wherever there is intelligence manifest, there is no need for suffering, provided one looks at one's own existence. Human reluctance to look at himself is the most disastrous reluctance. Reluctance to do business is not a very disastrous reluctance. If I fail in 1,000 duties, it's not a disaster. But if I fail to look at myself, great is the loss. Great is the loss. Huge is the Yached avedit atha satyam asti nachediha vedin mahati vinashti. समझेंगे इसी जन्म में अगर समझेंगे तो अथ सत्यम अस्ति, you are living with the truth. There is truth in your life. And if you fail to look at yourself, there is total loss. And even this phrase is a huge phrase, Ji. If you know yourself, huge is the gain. If you don't know yourself, huge is the loss. It's a very huge phrase, even knowing. I am saying very simple. If you can look at your existence correctly, if you can look at your existence correctly, huge is the gain. If you are reluctant to look at yourself, reluctance. Why is there reluctance? It is not even reluctance. You are preoccupied with the creation. When I am preoccupied with the objects, I cannot be. When I am preoccupied with the objects, then I cannot look at the subject. My mind is elsewhere, so it's not available for myself. It's a very serious failure. But to think that also, see, I am taking a new step, Ji, in my classes. So far I have been telling that without exposure to know Vedanta, one can't even look at oneself correctly. Without the Shabda Pramana, Without the Aptavakyam, the 10th man cannot even think that he could be the answer. Now I am slowly, thoda sa change karta hu for the benefit. Say, even without exposure to Vedanta, you can become curious about your existence. Curiosity is anubhava based. When I see something, I can become curious about it. When I hear some sound, I can become curious about it. I can become curious about so many objects. I can become curious about my own existence. A person develops an aptitude towards science, not because he is exposed to science, but there is an inner aptitude. Even as a child he is inquisitive. Even as a child he is inquisitive. That is inborn inquisitiveness. But what I am taking, even if a person grows up, you can even deliberately become curious about your existence. Could be this me. Nachiketa did not have much of a great exposure to Vedanta ji. He only used to think in terms of dharma and adharma. He was more critical of his father for going back on his promise, etc. He used to think more in terms of dharma and adharma. But he did express his curiosity. What happens after death? Am I there? It is looking at oneself. Am I there? He is not saying, after I go, when I die, what will happen to the world? He is not asking. He is saying, when I die, am I there? Some say I am there. Some say I am not there. What is true about that? Do I have existence even after leaving the form? If I have existence independent of the form, then I am eternal. That can be understood through common sense, intelligence. If you think about a given topic, all that is logic that is necessary to understand the topic will also manifest in the mind. It's something great, ji. You make yourself the topic. You look at yourself. All that you require for understanding it also manifests in you. It is like the moment you start going to school, all that you need to follow the teacher's teachings will come to you, ji. A student's discipline will come to you. A student's receptivity will come to you. A student's maryada, a student's obedience comes to you. A student's behavior comes to you. But become a student in school. Similarly, when a person becomes a student in school, all that a student requires comes to him. In the same manner, when I become a student of my existence, I'm really curious, what could I be, this me? Is this really a form? Am I an attribute of the form? Or am I independent of the form? As an attribute of the form, how can such a huge universe fall in my sight? The entire forest cannot fall in the realm of a branch of a tree. A branch of a tree is limited. Similarly, this whole universe is like the forest. And the entire universe falls in our sight, and that sight cannot be a part of the body. If it were a part of the body, then it would be limited like the body. A part of the limited would also be limited kind of reasoning, Ji. Tremendous reasoning. A man does not really become logical in thinking. Even if he becomes logical in the realm of, again, the material world. But if you are logical, and if that logicality, if you direct it towards yourself, oh my God, sky is the limit. Then you are a different person, in the sense you get lost in reflection about you. There will be no difference between you and an absent-minded professor. Swamiji, what a simile you are giving. But yes, you will be an absent-minded professor with a difference. Happy? Yes. With a difference. Happily absent-minded. Therefore, a part of the body is also limited, because the body is limited. How can the entire existence fall in my attention? If my attention were a part of my body, if my attention were a part of my senses, even senses are only limited. The eyes exclude the ears and so on. The five sense organs exclude one another. But the conscious sight has nothing to do with the eyes and ears, etc. Forms fall in my conscious sight, sounds fall, tastes and touches and smells, the time and its negation, the life and its negation, my God. The entire universe is sustained in our sight. How can that sight be the form? And is this sight there? When I die, is the sight there? Conscious sight, is it there? A sight that has no individuality. Because even the idea of individuality falls in the sight. So there is no individual sight. It's prakar. When a person uses his reasoning and become curious, he can get insight. It will slowly take him to Vedanta. At least he looks for. Something happens, Ji. At least you will be better off with a deep insight about yourself. You will be even though it's not a complete knowledge independent of Vedanta, but yet you are much better off than others. Even curiosity about your existence can create vairagya. Even curiosity about your existence can bring you values, can make you a peace-loving person, because you want everything to be peaceful so that you can look at yourself. Like a scientist who is curious about a law, he doesn't want to be disturbed in his investigation. Similarly, you don't want to be disturbed. And you will also understand, in order not to be disturbed, I should not disturb others. That's called a value. The value comes. Therefore, I am changing my approach. Thoda sa, itna. That you can become curious about yourself even without the exposure to Vedanta. Yes, Shabda is the Pramanam. But understand, even Shabda is a Pramanam does not mean Shabda gives the knowledge. Ultimately, Shabda only points out the evidence. It is that evidence that is Pramanam, that is Mahapramanam. Our Anubhava of our existence as conscious is the Mahapramanam. Our Anubhava of ourselves as the experiencer of the three states is the Mahapramanam. On the basis of my evidence about myself, I can understand. Means registering my evidence about myself. Shabda is a pramana in the sense it only says, hey, look at yourself. Look at yourself in this manner, in this manner, in this manner. In that sense it is pramana. But what is really, what creates, what enlightens a person is looking at his own existence, which is very much evident. Thus, even without the exposure to Vedanta, an intelligent person can look at himself and get some little insight, at least wonder at his existence. That can make him better than others. At least he can wonder at his own existence. Okay, ji. So Ashtavakra says, my dear human beings, you are unnecessary, you are suffering only due to Bhranti. Bhranti we find ourselves with. But in human embodiment, I need not continue to be suffering. I can look at my existence and solve the Bhranti. But then everybody wants to be free from Bhranti, but nobody looks at himself. Why? Why there is a universal reluctance to look at oneself? Because the Bhranti itself says there is nothing to look at yourself. Look at the world. The preoccupation with the world doesn't allow you to look at yourself. And also the sense that I am the form is not a questionable, is not something, the sense of reality about it is complete. It is questionable, but Vedanta comes and says it is questionable. But I don't feel convinced that it is questionable. Are you able to follow this reasoning? Vedanta looks at this sense that I am the form is questionable. But I don't feel convinced that it is questionable. I don't feel convinced that it is an illusion. I feel convinced that it is the reality. Therefore there is nothing to look at myself. Even if I look at myself, the answer is the same again and again. Who am I? I am Mr. So-and-so. Who am I? Father of so-and-so. Who am I? Son of so-and-so. Who am I? So-and-so individual. Any number of times you put that question to yourself, who am I? Who am I? The answer is the same. And therefore one does not look at oneself. If one is extremely intelligent, and if he has some Purva Janma Sanskaras, let me tell you, he can. He can start thinking. In Sushupti there is no sense of equation. In the dream, there is no sense of equation with this form. When there is no sense of equation with this form in the sleep, where am I? What happens to me in sleep? What happens to me? If I am a thought, the thought disappears. If I am still there in sleep, then I am not a thought. Then I should be something other than thought. In this manner, an intelligent person, like a sage-like man, can become curious about himself. Otherwise, he is not convinced enough to think. He says, Brahmat sansara Atma, you are Atma, sir. You are not Deha, but you are Atma. Atma means the seer. A conscious being is called Atma. Apnoti, Atti, Adatte. These are the three definitions of the word Atma. अद धातु का मणिन प्रत्यय लगाने से आत्मा हो जाती है. आत्मा अद धातु means that which is comprehensive of everything. Everything is consumed by the subject, meaning like water consumes as it were, as though it is comprehensive of all the waves. It swallows all the waves. It creates the waves. That's why this word Atma, the definition of the Atma is given in three words. One is Atti. It is the perceiver of everything. Adatte. It is comprehensive of everything. Apnoti. It is pervasive of everything. It is the swarupam, the actuality. I feel I am the form, but my conscious identity is my actual identity. My actual identity is what is called the Atma. Atma means swarupam. The word Atma is swarupam, the actuality. Bhashyakara always uses the term Atma in the sense of swarupam. Swarupam means in contrast to Pararupam. Pararupam means the erroneous form. Table is Pararupam. That it is wood is Swarupam. That it is a form, wave is Pararupam. That it is water is Swarupam. That I am the body is Pararupam. That I am only a conscious being is the Swarupam. That's called the actuality. Our actuality is not only conscious identity, it means also I am a conscious being which is at once the source of everything and free from everything and non-dual. That is the actuality. The actuality which doesn't have further actuality. You understand, the actuality is that which doesn't have further actuality, the fundamental actuality. Water is the actuality of the wave, but water again has further actuality. The observer of it, the seer of it. And the seer again as a form. Wave is the creation, water is the swarupam, and the water again can be reduced to the universe, and the universe can be reduced to the seer observer, and that can be reduced to the non-dual. That means if actuality has further actuality, then it is not the swarupam. It is called the immediate swarupam. The immediate swarupam is not the swarupam. The ultimate swarupam is the swarupam. That's why I say the swarupam, Atma is the swarupam, the actuality is not only that it is a conscious being, it is at once, it is the reality of the entire vision called the universe. Truth is not a vision, truth is a presence, is. Like deep sleep state is not a vision, deep sleep state is silent presence. Dream is a vision, Jagrat is a vision, fear is a vision, kind of a thought. I am using another word. It's a vision, it's a perception, it's a thought. In other words, it is adambara, it is a pomp. It is a pompous vision. Think of a marriage where there is no instruments of music. It sounds so insipid, Marriage looks like marriage only when you have lot of instruments of music. Some dholak and some nadaswaram, etc., etc. The pipe should be there. I tell you, creation is always associated with a lot of pomp. And Bhagavan understands it very well. Peace doesn't have any pomp. A person who is sitting quiet, does he have any pomp? He is quiet. There is no pomp. Dream is a vision, pompous vision. Waking is a pompous vision. Atma is a silent being. Just think of deep sleep state. There is no vision. There is only peaceful being. Man struggles in the vision and ultimately gets rest in that. When he renounces the pompous vision and gets absorbed in the peaceful being, then he gets rest. Pompous vision tires you. It attracts you. It tempts you. It depresses you. It excites you. It is like a mela. It's like a mela. In a mela sometimes you get lost. Okay ji, Atma. Man is, an individual is not a form, he is the Swarup, the actuality of the whole universe. The actuality behind his thoughts, he is the actuality behind the whole universe. And he is a non-dual actuality. Sakshi. It's a method of understanding the word Sakshi. Every word is only conveying the truth from the standpoint of error. Presupposing the felt error, the Shastra uses the language to. You don't sing a lullaby to a man who has already gone to sleep. Lullaby is not sung because man is awake and he is in need of going to sleep. You sing a lullaby. Shastram and lullaby are one and the same. I like this example, lullaby. Therefore, the word Sakshi conveys the nature of the truth from the point of view of the error. Sakshi. Like I'll give you the technical sense of Sakshi. In the Jagrat, one says, when I have senses, I see. When I have no senses, I don't see. My knowledge, my consciousness, my knowledge is confined to the senses. When the sense organs are there, I have perception, I have experience. If I don't have the senses, I have no experience. It's a total blackout. When I have senses, I have knowledge. When I have no senses, I have no knowledge. When I have senses, I have experience. No senses, no experience. In the same way, when I have senses, I am conscious. When I have no senses, I am not conscious. This is what is called pramatritvam. Man lives with the idea that his existence is confined to senses. This is called pramatritvam. My existence is confined to the senses, my consciousness is confined to the senses, conditional to the senses, my knowledge is confined to the senses, my whole life is confined to the senses. When my senses die, I also am to die. When my body goes, I am gone. I look at my existence as conditioned by, in the grip of the body and the senses. This is the thought with which man lives throughout his life. To correct this idea that I am a pramata, the Shruti comes and says, you are not a pramata, you are sakshi. This is a very beautiful switch from pramatritvam to sakshitvam. So pramatritvam has apavada. The word sakshi liberates you from pramatritvam. Meaning, even when you don't have the senses, you are still the experiencer of the dream. These waking senses are not there. Independent of the waking senses, you experience the dream state. Independent of the waking senses and the dream senses, you experience the deep sleep state in which there is no object. That means you are thinking that you are confined to the senses, confined to the body, and your existence is confined to the waking state. This particular state, given state, is an error. Your existence is not located inside the waking state, nor your existence is located in the dream state, nor your existence is located in the darkness called the absence of the two states. You are the witness of the three states. As the witness of the three states, you are not located in any of the three states. Does it not correct the error of pramatritvam? When you reflect on yourself, my God, I think I am confined to the senses. I feel I am confined to the body. But then what about this sakshitvam? The overall experience tells me that I close my eyes and experience the dream. I close my eyes and ears and experience the deep sleep state. Thus sakshitvam liberates a person from pramatritvam plus avastha antargatatvam. Avastha antargatatvam means that I am located inside the state. I am located inside the state. But the Atma is not located inside the state. Say if our existence is not located inside the state, our existence is also not located inside the time of the state. We are not inside the waking time. We are not inside the dream time. We are not in time. This is all observation. How can I not really take into account all this? This data? These are all the data. My experiences become the data. My experiences about myself, independent of my senses. My sakshitvam becomes the data pertaining to me. I can't ignore the data. Just as a scientist cannot ignore the sense data, a sage, a Vedanti cannot ignore the conscious data. Conscious data means the data that is there independent of the senses. Even the knowledge of that, I can close my eyes and entertain a feeling. Therefore, we are the sakshi of the waking state, the witness of the waking feelings, the witness of the dream state, the witness of the dream feelings, and the witness of their negation. Therefore, we are the witness of the life and we are also witness of the death. To be a witness of the death means to be the witness of death. And to be a witness of anything means like this. Sakshi means to be. I am the Sakshi of the waking means what? I can be without it. I can be the Sakshi of the dream, I can be without it. I can be without the thought of their absence. Sakshitvam need not mean really always a relationship. It should be understood nicely. To be a witness means I am not confined to it. I am only a witness of it, not a part of it. I am only a witness to it. I am only a witness of it, not a part of it. I am only a witness of it, not confined to it. I am only a witness of it, not conditioned by it. I am only a witness of it, not qualified by it. I am a witness, Sakshi. Therefore the word Sakshi is a very beautiful term for understanding the truth. But all the permutations, all the nuances that are associated with that word Sakshi must be looked at. I am a witness, even though I say I am the seer of the form, but actually I am the witness of the form. Seen through the eyes, I am a seer, otherwise I am a witness. I am not qualified by it. We are a Sakshi. From the standpoint of the universe, we are at once the Sakshi of the universe, the truth of the universe, and free from the universe. The water is at once the source of the waves and non-dual. Man only comes to know the Satyamithya Bhava. He only discovers that the water is the source, all waves are water, water is the source of all the waves. And the result is oneness. Oneness is the Tatparyam. Satyamithya Bhava is the Jnanam. Mahavakya, even though includes the Ekatvam, you are the Satyam of everything and therefore you are Advaitam. Tatparyam also is included in the Mahavakyam, please. Very huge nuance. Very huge nuance. Even the Tatparyam, you are at once the source of everything and also non-dual. Ekameva Advitiyam. Ekameva Advitiyam. That Advitiya Atma thou art. That means you are at once the source and also the non-dual. Therefore the entire no Tatparyam is left unincorporated in the Mahavakyam. Because Tat Padartha, the definition of the source is that it is at once the source and the non-dual. And that source which is at once the source and non-dual, thou art. That means, does Mahavakya include Tatparyam or not, ji? Yes, please say yes. Don't say Swamiji, सोच के बताएंगे. नहीं जी, सोचने की कोई जरूरत नहीं जी. That Satyam which is the source of everything and non-dual, thou art. Therefore use the word Sakshi for getting insight into yourself. Vibhu. My dear human being, you are Sakshi, you are Atma, you are Vibhu. What a verse. Vibhu. You are. Remaining one, you are, you look. There are many creations in you, many impositions in you. Vividham bhavati iti vibhu. The one looking many, and the many in fact boil down to the one. That is the Vaibhavam. When you go to Tirumalai hills, it is all Vaibhavam. The word Vaibhavam can be used only for Balaji, nowhere else. You can't go to Sagar and say coffee and say, I want Vaibhavam. It is not Vaibhavam ji. Really the Vaibhavam you can see in the temple ji. Baba. What pomp, what. You feel really that atmosphere totally brainwashes you. If you are not a bhakta also you become a bhakta until as long as you are there. Even if you are an untouchable person, you will be affected then. What music and what pipe and what nadaswaram and those things in mridangas. Oh my God! And Vedic recitations, people standing in a queue, that is what is called Vaibhavam. Why it is called Vaibhavam, I'll explain. There are so many activities pointing to the one Parameshwara. There is so much of pomp. The entire pomp is related to that silent one. Poor thing, Bhagavan is kuch nahi kar rahe hain. People go and stand in a queue to have his darshanam. Bhagavan is not coming to have their darshan. A lot of pomp is connected to the unpompous truth. That is called Vaibhavam. It is at once the pomp and silent. So Vaibhava hai ji. Srishti is Bhagavan's Vaibhavam, Vibhuti. You know what we call Vibhuti? Vibhuti is another, it is thing pratyaya, but Vibhuti. Vaibhavam is a tadhita pratyaya, but the meaning is the same. Srishti is Bhagavan ka Vibhuti hai. His expression is a vision in the truth. Like waves are Vaibhavam of the ocean. Even the size of the ocean is its Vaibhavam, but related to water which is peaceful. You can't really, H2O is only the essence of ocean. That H2O, that is a silent fact. The size of the ocean is its Vaibhavam. The countless waves are its Vaibhavam. And the Vaibhavam relates to peaceful nature. That's called Vaibhavam. At once pompous and quiet. At once pompous. That kind of Vaibhavam is there anywhere? You can, everywhere there is Vaibhavam. Even the marriage that takes place in Delhi is a kind of a Vaibhavam, small size Vaibhavam. But really the word Vaibhavam I was able to appreciate as a child. We used to stand in the temple and say, my God, this is Vaibhavam. Swamiji's 80th birthday came in Coimbatore. And something it was resembling like that Vaibhavam. Swamiji asked me, Kaisa hai? And I said, something close to Tirumala Vaibhavam. And I said, yeah, that is right. Something like Tirumala Vaibhavam. And therefore, that is called Vibhuji. The truth which is the essence of the entire glory. The visible glory, the visible vision. Purnaha ji. My dear Jiva, you are Purna, you are full. Don't unnecessarily complain about that you don't have this and that. That is your unnecessary perception. You are suffering your perceptions about yourself. We don't suffer our perceptions about the objects, please. Generally in this society, whenever you use the word perception, we mean perception about things. Oh, I feel I have less money. That is your perception, which people say. But I am making a distinction, please. Oh, that person is very bad. Well, that is only your perception. This community is problematic. Oh, that is only your perception. Trump is a Russian friend. Oh, that is only your perception. For everything, the intellectuals always call it as your perception. That's not the problem. Our perception, of course, yes, a lot of them are perceptions. If everything is a perception, then where is the actuality then? If everything is a perception, then where is the actuality? There has to be a distinction between perception and actuality. And whatever you say, then it says it is only your perception, it is only your perception, it is only your perception. Therefore, in the society also there is actuality and there is a verifiable actuality and there is erroneous perception. This perception about the objects, even erroneous perception about the objects. Supposing you have a perception about your friend that he is a cheat, etc., etc., wrong perception. कुछ गड़बड़ नहीं होता है. Is not, the damage is not much. कुछ नहीं जी. Maybe sometimes it's a blessing in disguise. People waste time in thinking about the redundant. Supposing I have certain perceptions about people and for which I am criticized by others, it's not a big problem for me, so what? But actually what really triggers unhappiness in me is my wrong perception about myself, my existence. My wrong perception about my existence. My existence happens to be Purna, full. And I look at myself as confined to the form, as a form which is limited, incomplete. And standing in this, rooted in this incomplete sense of myself, whatever I achieve, I would still be incomplete. Even if the whole creation is given to me on a platter, the owner of this creation would be incomplete. Therefore, the problem, the sense of incompleteness, it can go only by saying it is a perception. That I am a form is my only perception, not actuality. That I am incomplete is only a perception, not actuality. What is actuality? Purna. Ekaha, and it is indivisible one. Muktaha, and is ever free. Chit, and is only conscious identity. I always use this phrase, instead of saying consciousness, I use the word conscious identity. That is the actual identity, meaning conscious swarupam. In contrast to the pararupam that I am a form. Our conscious identity is in contrast to the form. That we are only conscious is our actuality. And even to say that I am a combination of conscious and the inert is also not actuality. Akriya, you are actionless. Struggle free. This akriya I would like to explain in this manner. I don't want to explain it, this word akriya, in the sense, I am not the doer, you are the doer kind of explanation. Hey Bhagavan, I am not the doer, you are the doer. Akriya means the swarup in the consciousness does not function. It is not a functioning. Consciousness is. Akriya Shabda points to only being, is. It doesn't do, it only is. It is not that it suspends its doing and remains quiet. Aisa nahi. It is not possible for the truth to be a doer. The non-dual cannot do. The space cannot do. Space is. The silence cannot do. The silence is. Similarly, our existence is. Think on these lines. Our existence only is. To be, I am. That is why I am just making a pun of this word. I am sitting, I am, that is being. Sitting is function. I am standing up. Standing up is a function, but presupposes I am a being. I am walking. Walking is a function. Presupposes the being. That means everything that looks like a functioning presupposes the being. Asanga. You have no association. There is no relationship. You have no sangha. I am not saying that you should not have a relationship. I say you don't have it. We don't give a mandate you should not be the body. We say you are not the body. That is the education. Discovering that you are not the form is the education. Don't have any association is not a Vedantic mandate. Says you don't have any association. Recognize it. Nispriha. You don't have to renounce the desire. You are free from the desire. Oh my God, they are not mandates. Nispriho bhava. Nisango bhava. When you say bhava, may you be, then it becomes what? Mandate. May you be free from the body, it doesn't say. It is, you are free. Even the mandate, as upayas we give mandates. When you are just an initial student of Vedanta, until you get established as a student of Vedanta, we give some mandates. Control your mind, have vairagyam, have shama, have dhamma, have uparati, have titiksha, have samadhanam. These are all what? Mandates. And when you follow the mandates, you enter a realm in which there are no mandates. There is only a topic to be understood first. There are no mandates to be followed in Vedanta, please. Kitni achhi baat hai ji. There are no mandates to be followed. What a relief. Why does a housewife want to go to a distant ashram? So that she doesn't have to face mandates from the Pati Dev. Say, don't fear mandates. Never think of any place as better than your home. Your home is your platform, is your shelter, is your solitude, is your ashram, and therefore study Vedanta for a little while, and the rest of the time keep your house a cool home. Don't become restless and then leave home and go to city walk as though really it is better than. कितने भी भागेंगे अंत में घर तो आना पड़ेगा. Grihastha, even a Swami must always must abide in his kutia. Go and then earn your bread and come back and be peaceful in your kutia. A Grihastha goes out, does his duties and comes back and stays at home. And in order to keep your home cool, even if you have to follow mandates, so what? You don't fear mandates in life if they are good mandates. Don't fear mandates, because ultimately all good mandates resolve in a mandates-free topic. Lullaby culminates in total peace. ठीक है जी? I will conclude the verse, just 2 minutes. Don't curse me. Nispriha, Shanta, you are peaceful. Brahmat, only due to Bhranti, Sansarvaniva, you look as Sansarvan. You look bound only due to Bhranti, otherwise you are Purnaha, you are Shantaha, you are Atma, Sakshi, Vibhu, Purna, Eka, Mukta, Chit, Akriyaha, Asangaha, Nispriha, Shanta. What I like about this person is, he does not associate any mandate, please. He never uses the language of mandates, because truth is not a matter for. One of the great points that Bhashyakara makes is, it is not vidhi vishayam. Truth is not a matter for mandate. You should be peaceful, nahi. You are that. Karmakanda is full of mandates, means do's and don'ts are called mandates. Ye karo, wo karo, these are all called mandates. What you have to do this, do that, these are all called various mandates. And Karmakanda is full of mandates. It's like a mother-in-law. Wow, it's like a mother-in-law. And Vedanta is like mother. It doesn't give mandates. Mother doesn't give mandates. Kuch na karo, koi baat nahi, samjho. You are the truth. You are peace. You are free. Understand the difference? Truth is not vidhi vishayam. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Visishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.